Mate, did we watch a thing this week?
Yeah, we did.
Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for joining us as we continue our journey through the Fast and the Furious franchise and continue to question why we are doing this. So it's currently about 10 a.m. and we're just about to kick into Tokyo Drift, and I cannot wait to see why the hell Paul Walker is in Tokyo. So
Is Paul Walker in Tokyo?
Isn't he?
I don't think Paul Walker's in this movie.
I thought he was like the one mainstay that's in all of them at least.
I don't think so. But I haven't seen this movie.
All right. Well, I mean, should we find out?
Let's see what happens.
All right. Let's do it. What did we just watch?
I don't know what just happened.
What?
All I know is that it wasn't good.
That was the worst movie I have. I don't want to say ever seen because I'm probably wrong, but it was up there with bad movies.
That was horrible.
What?
That was horrible.
So Beth thinks that this is a good movie. She was trying to tell me that Too Fast, Too Furious is the lowest of the franchise, and I have a bone to pick with her because
Too Fast, Too Furious was a terrible movie, but at least we were laughing at it being terrible.
Yeah, this was just
This
bad.
was just horrible.
This was just bad.
Like, it started out pretty strong when the kid from Home Improvement was there.
Yeah, except that entire sequence was incredibly offensive. Do you think that sequence could be made in a movie today?
I would hope that if it was, it would be called out for being just all kinds of wrong and terrible.
So if you haven't seen it, the movie starts with a high school race where I guess the hot cheerleader has effectively volunteered herself to be the prize. She's like, winner gets me. And Home Improvement Kid and Yokel, who somehow becomes our quotation marks hero.
I can't actually remember the hero's name.
Me neither.
I say hero usually, but he was the kid in. Okay, so I've seen him in the movie of Friday Night Lights.
Did he play a horrendous hick?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was really good in Jarhead. I'll give him that.
Okay.
I don't know if I know him from anything else. And after this race, so 5 minutes into the film, they should all be dead.
They should all be dead. They crash horribly in this race. Like, their cars are destroyed. These kids should not survive.
Dead. I've, as part of my work before, I've had to film car crashes.
Yeah.
Or, the aftermath of car crashes.
Yeah.
When they're like, the reason you're filming this car crash is because people are dead. And those crashes were not as serious as these crashes.
Yeah, and then you cut to these kids sitting in not even a hospital, just sitting in a police office.
With a couple of scrapes and bumps.
Yeah, just a little ice pack on my head. That's not what happens after crashes like this.
So after this main guy gets sent to Tokyo because reasons.
Essentially his mother deports him to Tokyo because she's sick of his shit.
Yeah, so he's off with his Navy dad. We assume it's his dad.
Yeah, I think it's his dad. We were kind of in and out because the movie was so bad.
And then here's something that we kept coming back to throughout this film. And it started off I wonder what the plot's going to be. Because so far, there's no objective, what's the goal?
I think it was first around 45 minutes in where you said...
I think it was 30 minutes in.
Right, and you said, what is there a plot yet?
There wasn't yet.
There wasn't yet.
And we kept revisiting this until there was 10 minutes to go in the film. And we're like, this film has no plot.
Yeah. Particularly in stuff happens in the movie, but that's not plot. That's not story. That is stuff happening. When we talk about plot, we talk about the motivations and development of the characters and things like that.
What's the goal? What's the objective? What are the things that they're going to have to overcome to get there?
Yeah. These are
things that are not a part of this movie.
It's your standard 3-act structure that every single screenplay just about is based on. And there are exceptions to that rule. There are some great scripts out there that don't follow the 3-act structure. This is not one of them. But this sets up nothing at the start. There's no climax. There's no build. There is nothing in this movie.
So the first race that he goes to in Tokyo is in a car park, which apparently is not being used.
Yeah, it seems like it's just a hangout of sorts. He goes there led by Lil Bow Wow, and I don't know, it almost looks like a festival of sorts. There seem to be stalls set up, and it's like a car show.
of mostly, are they all high school kids like him?
It seems like high school
with a lot of
kids.
spare time, which is fair enough in high school, but also a lot of money.
Yeah, a lot of money.
So they crash a bunch of cars there, and that has no consequences because I don't know who.
Not even their own cars.
No,
our yokel doesn't have a car. This is the second time in this movie that some random he has just met is like, yeah, sure, you can drive my car. First, he's driving a little Bow Wow's car to get there, and then
that's right because he goes, "At least let me drive."
Yeah,
at which point, if you're a little Bow Wow, you would say, "No,
yeah, bog off, mate. Why would I let you drive my super
We met
expensive
10
car?"
minutes ago.
And for some reason, little Bow Wow's like, yeah, man, yeah, sure, you drive. You drive. You don't know the streets of Tokyo. You don't know where we're going.
All the while plugging Jordans.
Yeah.
Some good product placement in this one as well. Nike was forking out.
Yeah, Nissan paid for at least 5 shots. Yeah, and so then he just randomly gets given this car by Han. Who I know from the later movies, and I guess this is out of sequence because, spoiler alert, he dies in this. And then we finally get Dominic Toretto right at the end, and we finally get his first mention of family.
I would have lost a bet if someone said, does Dom's first reference to family happen 30 seconds before the end of film 3?
Yeah.
That he's not even really in. I'd be like, no way.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess this happens. I'm trying to remember if it's the 7th or 8th movie that ends with Han being like, yeah, man, I'm going to leave and go back to Tokyo.
And hang out with high schoolers.
Yeah. It doesn't make a lot of sense why he's there.
Here's another thing that doesn't make a lot of sense. People just speaking English for convenience sake.
Yeah, completely sporadically too. Like,
yeah,
totally all over the shop. They'll be speaking Japanese 1 second, and then even if there's not an English person in the room that they're talking to, even if it's just Japanese people talking by themselves, they will randomly switch to English purely for the convenience of the viewer.
So Han, there's a point in the film where Han is racing DK. I was like, is this Mario Kart? What's going on? And then later in the film,
this was my favorite thing you said.
For the big final race, little Bow Wow is saying to old mate, whoever the main character is, there's a reason DK's picked this road. It's his mountain. Like, oh my God. They're actually going to DK Mountain for this race that we couldn't give a rat's fart about.
You know what would have made me care more? If one of them started hurling turtle shells at the other.
That would have been outstanding.
That would have been great. Just like dropping a banana peel on the side of the road.
If you're gonna shake up the 3-act structure of a movie, do it with shells at least. Nothing happens in this movie.
No, nothing happens. Nothing happens at all. And, like, I'm hoping that none of these... I mean, I know that Han comes back. I'm hoping that none of the rest of these characters come back because they have zero interest for me.
There was that bit, when the amazing bit of character development when the main character's saying to his dad, no, I can't just walk away. I've got to fix my mistakes. I was like... What? And his dad says to him something along the lines of, at least you're not repeating my mistakes. And I was like, what, breeding?
Yeah.
Bringing this nothing.
I mean, he's got no...
He's a dreadful person.
He's got no life. He's got no motivation. He's got no morals. He's just running around, taking cars, drifting them. Like, that's not a character.
And he gets better at drifting and racing in... I mean, sure, it's a montage. We don't know exactly how long it is, but let's say at most it's a matter of weeks.
Yeah.
He gets better in that time than DK is full stop, and we know that DK is the best because...
Yeah, well, DK stands for Drift King.
Drift King. But in strolls white saviour of drifting, and bang, better than him. We've talked before in the last episode about, really, they continued the franchise after this?
Yes. That is where my head is at too. I am struggling so hard to see, firstly, how it got to this point. Like, the first one, there are things that made it work. And then in the second one, they took half of those things away. And then in the third one, they took the rest of those things away and left you with a crumpling turd that is so bad and so unrelated to the rest of the franchise that I don't understand how from this point someone said, yep, let's make 5 more of these. I just don't know what to say about this movie other than, please, if you haven't seen it, just don't watch it. And I hope that there are no listeners out there who watched along with this franchise just for us, because I'm really sorry if you watch.
I think we really hold that kind of sway over people's lives.
Just don't watch this movie. Have you got anything else to say?
No, but I was wondering how long it was going to take in the day before I decided I needed a drink, and we're there.
Oh, we're there. I mean, it's lunchtime now. It's 12.
Yeah, we are getting towards lunchtime. I'm having a drink.
Yeah. And what have you made us for lunch, buddy?
I've made nothing.
I saw that you brought a big pot.
My other half has made us bolognese, which was great.
That's exciting because you've been raving about this bolognese for weeks.
It's awesome, yeah. Found this new recipe and it is banging.
I am excited. Would you say that it's furious? Like, have you put a little hit in chili or something in there?
If I was making it, I would love to do that, but I'm looking forward to it, though. The ways in which this bolognese is better than Tokyo Drift. You know what else is better than Tokyo Drift?
Everything.
Hamish and Andy.
Hamish and Andy are better than Tokyo Drift, aren't they?
And we had the pleasure of catching up with them.
It was pretty insane.
I say catching up with them like that's something we do. It's not.
Not often.
But we got to do it once.
Not as much as we'd like to.
I'm sure that they'll be calling back, though.
Oh, definitely. Shall we have a listen to Furious 5 with Hamish and Andy?
Let's do that. We have done a marathon of the Fast and Furious films, which...
So that's kind of what we wanted to talk to you guys about.
So that is a lot of Fast and a lot of Furious.
It was pretty a furious day.
The last 2 episodes were a drinking game and it was pretty messy.
Yeah. What were the rules?
There were a lot. Anytime anyone says family, anytime anyone starts a car...
4 wheels of a car leave the ground.
Oh, gosh, you didn't see that.
It was messy. I don't really remember the...
How many Fast and Furiouses are there now?
There's 8.
8.
Yeah. What's the last one?
Fate of the Furious. F8.
See what they did there?
F8, yeah. We're all fine
For number 9.
Yeah. Okay, take it away, gents.
Have you seen any or all of the Fast and Furious films?
Andy actually auditioned for Vin Diesel's role in the Fast and the Furious, but was kicked out because he
Too strong.
Vin Diesel tried to beat him up, and so he had to come back to Australia.
I've seen...
He wouldn't cut his hair off.
I reckon... Well, we've had one of them on for... We went and saw Tokyo Drift together, because I think we had Vin Diesel on the
that's
radio
the worst
show.
one.
That's
Yeah.
always fun.
That was probably our first one we watched was Tokyo Drift.
Well, after that one, because I hadn't seen them
You're
yet.
not in control.
Yeah, I was like, how is there a franchise? When we got to number 3, I was like, stop.
Yeah. And we saw...
And we had Paul Walker on for maybe the very first one.
We did. We saw the unreleased, sensibly paced and not mad, which was just them driving around normally. Going to the shops, just getting from A to B. We saw Fast and Furious A to B, which is just them commuting. And I saw it wasn't very good.
I saw Paul walk... What was the last one Paul was in?
7.
I saw 7 at the drive-in.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool.
And
Did everyone rev when... Yeah.
And everyone had taken their hotted up cars to watch at the drive-in, and I was sitting there in quite a sensible sedan.
That's cool. Like everyone takes their whips to Indiana Jones.
I'm a big fan of you guys, and obviously True Story is amazing.
How about you, Toph?
His question.
just him talking movies.
And if the events of Fast and Furious was being told on True Story, which character would you want to tell it, and who might you cast to reenact it?
Oh, yeah, good one. I mean, there's so many great characters in Fast and the Furious, all whose names I know.
It'd be great to have Vin Diesel's character tell the story.
Yeah, just with
have,
voice.
And have Jason Statham play it.
Or-
Because they're pretty much the same person.
Yeah. Or Ray Ma play Vin Diesel. And then have Vin Diesel come back into the reenactment and be like, I don't look like that, do I? Like, that's how we see you.
If the whole planet took on the philosophy of one of the following great leaders, which one would be most beneficial for humanity?
Great question.
Mahatma Gandhi's vision of peace and sticking it to the English.
Yeah.
Dominic Toretto's vision of 10-second cars and product placement.
Yes.
or Patrick Cripps' vision of Carlton winning some games?
Well, I think Patrick Cripps is the most outlandish.
I think we're going to see Gandhi achieve world peace a little sooner. But there is nothing like seeing Gandhi in the middle of a huddle, telling all the boys in his beautiful, gentle style that we can do this, guys.
We've got time for one more. Go for it.
But can I just say, usually in junkets you get a lot of the same questions. We have not had which of these philosophies is best for the world.
Great.
What are you more likely to win against Vin Diesel? A quarter-mile drag race or a staring contest?
Oh, that's tough. For me...
Am I running and he's in a car?
Definitely.
I think Andy would smash him in a staring contest. Andy has beaten him in an arm wrestle. He beat Vin Diesel in an arm wrestle. But and at the time... And I just think... that
people think it's about muscles. It's actually about leverage.
Yeah,
it's about
same with
position.
Same with staring. It's about eyelid leverage, not eyelid muscles. I can see we've accidentally got into a staring contest now, but you're squinting almost to the point where I'd have to disqualify you.
When I'm driving, my wife is always like, "Open your eyes." I'm like, "They are open."
Lovely stuff, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Excellent. Well, okay, so next we're getting to Fast and Furious, which I get the naming of these movies makes no sense to me. So that the next one doesn't even have a number in it. It doesn't say Fast and the Furious 6. It's just, 4. It just says Fast and Furious. It's the same title as the first one without the thes.
But we're getting back to basics now, aren't we? Like the old crew is together.
My understanding is that this one is almost like a reboot. This kind of resets it back
needed
to
it.
I don't understand how it was given the chance to do it, but I'm hoping that this is where it starts to pick up again, because we've now been sitting here for 7 hours and I don't know how I'm going to get through the rest of the day already. Mm-hmm. Speaking of the rest of the day, shall we check out our next drinking rule?
Certainly.
This one comes to us from our good friend Gabe from Thinking Outside the Long Box podcast. Let's hear what he has for us.
Billy Topher, holy crap. This is Gabe from Thinking Outside the Long Box podcast, and all I can think to myself is, there are 8 Fast and the Furious movies? What the family-friendly movie podcast? Why would you watch all of those? That's ridiculous to me. But if you are going to watch all of them and make a drinking game out of it, I'm thinking you take a drink every time all 4 wheels of a car come off the ground. That's it.
Good rule.
That is a bloody good rule.
Good rule.
You know what? No, we probably shouldn't, because we're already going to be hammered. I think we should extend that to we drink until the car is back on the ground.
So slow-mo shots are just drink.
We'll revisit that once we hear the rest of the rules and realise how trolleyed we're going to get. In the meantime, shall we move on to Fast and Furious?
Hey, it can only get better.
All right. It is the better part of 2:30, and I don't know about you, but I'm starting to feel the effects of watching all of these movies back to back.
Yeah, sensory overload is kicking in.
I just don't even know. I don't know what day of the week it is. I don't know what year it is. I need you to start us here.
All right, so we just watched the 4th film in the franchise, which is just called Fast and Furious.
It's the same as the first one without the thes.
It makes sense. Now, right at the start of this movie, there's at the start of the very first one, it begins with a truck heist.
Yeah.
But it's clear
Less
from the beginning. Yeah, there are less harpoons. It's clear from the beginning of this one, though, that we've decided CGI is the bomb and we've given the finger to physics.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I also am so unclear where we are in the timeline now, because Han is here, and then at the end of this opening scene at the heist goes bad and they decide to stop heisting, and Han says about going back to Tokyo. So is Tokyo Drift after this one?
Well, at this point I would think so, but then you say he comes back again.
I could have sworn that he was in some of the others, because I don't think I've seen this one.
Well, I don't know. Like as a new viewer, I would think that this happens right before, or in fact, the events of this film could even be concurrent with Tokyo
That's
Drift.
true. That's true, because I have no idea how long the events of this film go for. I mean, the film itself felt like it went for a month, so I don't know how long the events are.
But we're back to the old crew
Finally,
with this film. Finally, because Tokyo Drift certainly felt like a long time.
Well, and Too Fast, Too Furious wasn't the old crew.
Yeah, good call.
So we're finally back with Toretto and his family.
And we come back to Paul Walker, who, when we meet him at the beginning of this film, it's like, oh, Paul Walker is now James Bond.
Yeah, yeah. And not only is he James Bond, there is no way that this guy would be allowed in the FBI.
He's working for the FBI now. He's not back with the cops. He's with the Federal Bureau of Investigations. No.
And he's not the only one either who has had drastic changes. Dominic Toretto is now practically Batman. He's going off on his own vigilante detective mission. Because as we find out, almost immediately after the heist, I was so confused. He went to Panama?
He did. He went to Panama City, which is in Panama, the film tells us, which is good, because otherwise we'd be lost as to where that city is.
That Panama City. I thought it was Panama City, like
Quebec.
And so we find out that Letty, Michelle Rodriguez, has been murdered. So, and she didn't come back in this film. So maybe, I swear I've seen her in the rest. So I don't know what's going on.
As far as I know, she's dead.
All right. And then I forget.
And then Toretto figures out how, because you have a stab at how it goes.
He has like a full-on mentalist moment. He goes to the crash site and he's reading the tire marks on the ground. And
like Aragorn tracking the hobbits.
He's having visions of the crash. He's looking at the skid marks and he's seeing the car flipping and her crawling out and a guy holding a gun. It's
ridiculous.
He's literally like an Old West tracker who's looking at these footprints and
he can feel it in his waters.
He continues to go from there in this full Batman style mission where he just is figuring things out.
It's pretty amazing. Then something amazing does happen. Wonder Woman happens.
Wonder Woman! I forgot she was in this franchise. I
didn't know. I never knew that.
I don't know if she's in any more, but yeah, we get Wonder Woman. And how quickly did Toretto forget all about Letty?
Well, whenever he's in his defense, whenever he's by himself, he's like, oh, how I miss my Letty. And whenever Gal Gadot's in front of him, he's like, who?
Yeah. In his defense, it is Gal Gadot.
And actually, he's more controlled than she is. She's absolutely jonesing for a bit of the diesel.
Oh, definitely. She needs her tank filled with diesel.
Oh, dude. No. Good grief.
She don't turn off her motor at the pump. Oh,
stop,
no.
Just stop.
So I've had a rum and coke.
Yeah, everyone, this is Billy after one drink. So thank God he's organised drinking games for later tonight. Oh, can I just say, there are cars in this movie, as you might guess, and this one features the most realistic car chase we've had so far. You know why? Paul Walker spends half of it yelling at the GPS. All of a sudden, every driver is going, I feel you, Paul. I feel you.
Turn left.
It's right in front of me!
We also get our first F-bomb, I believe, in the entire franchise, unless I haven't been paying attention.
Because when it happened, we looked at each other like, oh, a cuss.
Yeah. And I wonder if that's going to continue once The Rock comes into it, because I feel like The Rock has a very family-friendly image to maintain.
Yeah.
So
yeah, The Rock doesn't go around dropping F-bombs.
This might be the only F-bomb in the entire franchise. Although we also get Jason Statham, and he's known to curse.
Oh, he's an absolute potty mouth.
Oh. Now I'm curious to see where we go.
It'll be like in Marvel films, The Rock will be Captain America frowning upon any kind of bad language, while Statham's just saying words that which we wouldn't say.
Oh, no, we wouldn't. No, he'd be saying things like "fuck" and "c**t," and we would not say those words.
We wouldn't say them.
No. So this film is definitely, I would say, where this is a turning point in the franchise now. I don't know, it still feels like in between though. Like this isn't as outrageous as what's to come, but we're kind of getting there. There's a lot less racing in this film than the previous ones. This is less about racing and starting to get more into that kind of soap opera, real action, crazy kind of stuff that the franchise is known for.
Yeah. I mean, like I said earlier, like physics, they're giving the bird to physics. Yeah. Those times where cars are crashing through piles of rocks and just...
Yeah. When they went into that cave and I looked at you and you looked at me and you went, it's okay, it's not rocks.
But then at the other end, it was rocks.
It was rocks and these cars just fly through this rock mountain.
Yeah. Not DK Mountain.
Not DK. This is a different mountain because that one's in Tokyo.
Tokyo, Japan.
Oh, Tokyo, Japan. That's right. I would have been confused if the movie had just said Tokyo.
That's a cool death though at the end.
Yeah.
Where Toretto just nails that guy up against the other car.
Yeah, although, speaking of physics giving the bird, I have no idea how, because that guy was going to run and Paul Walker, who is like dying and laying on the ground, holds that guy there, which I'm sorry, I don't care how strong you are, Paul Walker, you're not holding that mountain of a guy there while you're practically dying.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, and then, Vin Diesel just smashes his car right into this guy, and then the next shot, Paul Walker's like 10 meters away.
It was the shockwave. Physics, Billy.
I need to brush up on my physics, clearly.
And another thing we didn't know was that Toretto's sister is apparently a medic.
Yeah.
Paul Walker turns up with a shot Toretto, and she's like, the bullet's not in there. I'm like, you made sandwiches in the first movie.
That's right. She was the reason he was sandwich crazy, because he really liked her tuna. That sounds so dirty.
Yes, it does.
And not only that, we then find out that apparently she's a mad street racer too, even though we've never seen her in a car.
Oh, because right at the end, they're going to bust Toretto out. Because at the end, Toretto gets sentenced to jail, which quite frankly, I'm with the judge.
Yeah.
Paul Walker's like wanting clemency, and I'm like, no.
He's a bad egg, man. He has killed people. He has stolen stuff. He's... Like, I don't know how many people have died just by accident from his street races.
Absolutely.
He's an all right bad bloke. I don't care if he loves his family. He's a bad dude.
But then in the end, he's on his way to prison and they turn up to bust him out, which we don't actually see happen, but I think we can.
I'm assuming that'll be the start.
Yeah, I thought that maybe he was going to go to prison and, like, with a spark plug, dig his way out Shawshank style. But
yeah. That would be great if the next movie was like The Shawshank Redemption, but with Toretto.
That would be great.
That would be so awesome.
Family will drive a man insane.
So not only was Paul Walker a terrible cop, he's a terrible FBI agent.
Yeah, not that he would be an FBI agent, no. But now that he is, terrible.
Even in a workplace like the FBI, do you think it's ever acceptable to smash a colleague's head into a wall?
I wouldn't have thought so. And not any wall. It was like stone.
It was like a stone wall. That dude would be messed
up.
Like, right up. So, is it implied by the end of this that Paul Walker has once again just, like, turned his back on the law?
Yeah, has he gone rogue again, or is he just, like, on his weekend... gone to save Toretto. I don't know.
I mean, even if you're doing that on your weekend, how much longer is he going to last in the FBI?
They have no one to blame but themselves.
So all I know is that I'm tired and I'm cranky and I'm hungry.
And it's early afternoon.
We're halfway though.
Except that aren't the last four longer.
The last four
so we're nearly halfway.
Oh my god. All
right, so we gave the first two middling to not great scores. What are we giving these last two?
Oh, these are worse. Tokyo Drift for me is getting a 2. And I feel like that's generous.
Yeah, I've been tossing up between a 1 and a 2.
Well, I would just like to call out Beth for a sec. She, like, even while we were watching the movie, we messaged her saying, this is atrocious. And she was still trying to defend it.
Yeah.
I said I would watch Too Fast, Too Furious 3 more times before watching Tokyo Drift again. And she said she would watch Tokyo Drift every day for a year before watching John Carter again. And that kind of thinking is wrong.
And hurtful to you.
Hurtful to me. Because John Carter is at least 6 to 7 times better than Tokyo Drift.
And what about Fast and Furious?
Can we just call it Fast and Furious 4? Because it's getting really confusing.
Okay, Fast 4.
All right, Fast 4, I am going to give a 4.
Yeah, I think I'll join you on a 4. It's pretty dumb, but there's some fun stuff. I mean, it's pretty dumb. It's really dumb. There's some fun stuff there.
It's not as good as the first one.
There's some good, Vin Diesel standing still for 10 seconds and then saying something, that's enjoyable.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that we're back with the gang, although I am really missing Tyrese.
I'm not.
I feel like I'm hoping that Tyrese comes back pretty soon.
He does, doesn't he?
I think he does.
Yeah.
I am so confused by this franchise. So far, it seems all over the place. We've been through 4 movies so far. And until this 4th one, we've had virtually a different cast and plot and everything every time.
Yeah, it's like there's characters and plot points up on a dartboard. People are blindfolding themselves and throwing.
It's like when they write a Family Guy episode and they just get the manatees to pull out random pop culture references.
All right, should we find out if Tyrese comes back?
I think we should. Before we do that, though, why don't we find out what our next drinking game rules are?
Hey guys, this is Drew from the Real Feels podcast, and I have a few drinking game rules for my friends over at We Watched a Thing while they make their way through the Fast and the Furious franchise. Gentlemen, I have 3 rules for you that will increase in difficulty upon each level. Level 1. Whenever a car is airborne, take a drink. Level 2. Whenever there is a close call, take a drink. And finally, the one that's sure to give you some alcohol poisoning. Level 3. Whenever someone starts their car. Gentlemen, have fun.
Well, holy shit, that is a lot of rules, Drew. But you know what? I think we should do them all.
I'm up for it.
We do already have when all 4 wheels come off a car, though.
Exactly.
So I think we definitely go back to what I said before, is we drink until the car is back on the ground.
Yeah. Most of the ones in that last one were very quick. Pathetic little guns,
it's
really.
yes. You
Wouldn't even
barely
get the can to your lips.
Barely.
All right.
Let's go and check out, what are we, Fast 5? Is that what the next one's called?
Couldn't tell you.
All right, let's do it. Catches. All of them.
Yeah.
But so you really want to go with the
You don't have to, a drink doesn't have to be...